You're welcome back to the Gavel. When the story of the 8th Assembly is told, one of the key things which will stand out is the volume of investigations carried out by the Senate and the House of Representatives. The Senate on December 6th set up an ad hoc committee to probe the local content elements and cost variations relating to the deep offshore Egina oil field project. Now, the probe, according to the Senate, is necessary because of reports of huge variations in the cost of the project. We had a chat with the chairman of the ad hoc committee, Senator Adiola Olamilekon, to learn more.
The project is about building a vessel which is big, but will be used in oil production in the offshore of the Nigerian waters, and is to generate or to pump 200,000 barrels of oil per day for the next 25 years. That is the way the project was structured. The Samsung heavy duty industries have their counterparts in Korea, which is their head office. We're given the construction of the FPSO, while Samsung Heavy Industry Nigeria Limited were given the contract to construct the top side that will be mounted on the FPSO when it arrives from Korea. And as we speak, the FPSO have left Goje, Korea, and it's already coming towards the Nigerian waters. And it's expected to arrive here by the 3rd or last week in January 2018. Once it arrives, the top side built by the Samsung Heavy Duty Industry will be mounted on the FPSO, and it will sail into the offshore, where the lower side or the completion of this particular project, which was handled by Saipem and all other companies, will be attached to this FPSO before the first profit oil will start, which we call the post-Egina project. What is the crux of the matter? What we're saying is that this particular contract is a production sharing contract where the investors will invest this money to put all this together, with Nigerian government contributing no dime. And after which, the investors will be allowed to recoup back its initial investment for some years. After this recouping, then Nigerian government and the investors can now sit and now do a sharing formula as to what comes to the Nigerian government and what goes to, the investors over the period in questions. Ordinarily, it ought to be build, operate, and transfer. That is, after the initial after you have recouped your capex, which is the capital expenditure of this transaction, you ought to return the Egina to Nigerian government. But because there is need to maintain the oil wells where all this oil will be drilled from over the years, the oil IOCs or the investors believe he has the technical expertise to continue to sustain the projects. And after which, if the expiration of the number of years that was signed, it can return to Nigerian government or subject to another review. But what we're looking at is this. We see this price variation and all this pricing. If Nigeria is embarking on a project of 25 years with an investors at a cost of 16.5 billion naira, and it depends on the oil prices through which the investors will have to recoup back its money, which can take the next 10 years, 12 years, depending on how stable the oil prices is. That shows that Nigeria is not going to make anything from this investment for this period while the investors is recouping back his money, and also will not be receiving any royalties on this particular project where the investors are, because this particular Egina it will go into the water to the tune of about 1,500 to 1,700 meters. And the act, as passed by the National Assembly, anything above 1,000 meters, the investors is not to pay any royalties. So what Nigeria will be taking for some years on Egina will only be to the tune of the tax, which will be paid by the company to Nigerian government. But what are we saying is that we believe that the cost of construction of this particular Egina is too high. It's too high because there are a lot of costs, hidden costs, that we need to know and ask questions about to authenticate how sincere is this project is to us as a people.